Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to pick number 22 in my top 30 progressive rock albums of the 70s countdown. 30 days in the month of June here in 2023. I'm counting down my 30 favorite prog rock albums that were released in that decade, the glory years of progressive rock. Lots of great albums, tons of great albums. So many so that there's some excellent albums that just won't make the cut. I've been agonizing over it every day. I'm looking at like that list of ones that didn't quite make the list, and I'm like, oh, I feel really bad about it. I got the Butch Jones syndrome here. I know Butch always says it pains him when he has to like only pick like a certain amount for something, and he has to leave out bands or artists that he really loves. And I totally feel what he's going through right now, because I've been poring over my list. Usually when I finalize my list before the month starts, I go with it and I run with it. But man, every day I've been looking at my list and thinking, all right, these are the ones that are still yet to be announced. These are the ones that didn't make the cut. Should I make a swap? Should I? Would I? Ultimately, so far, I have not, but I've still been agonizing over what didn't make it, which, what are you going to do? You can't pick everything, right? 30 is not a big number. Really, when you think about it, 30 is not a big number. When your overall list is, 100, 200 albums in total, it's crazy. So, anyway. And, of course, I have limited myself to no more than 3 albums by any one band, because otherwise I'd have like 5, 6 bands making this entire list, because you got the big bands, right, who had lots of really good albums. So this particular band here, this is their debut album. It was released March 1978, recorded at Trident Studios in London, England, produced by the band for EG Records. It is the debut album from this supergroup. UK, of course. My favorite of the two. They only have 2 records, all right. Second one is absolutely fine. I know lots of people who feel very strongly that they like Danger Money better than the self-titled debut. I'm not one of them. To me, I find the debut much better than the second album, although I do enjoy the second album quite a bit. But this is just damn special. Of course, John Wetton, bass, lead and backing vocals, Bill Bruford on drums, Eddie Jobson on keyboards, electric violin, and none other than Alan Holdsworth on electric and acoustic guitars. Mostly electric guitar, right? But some damn fine acoustic guitar on this album as well. Yeah, this is a very, very cool album. A total supergroup, of course, because you got Bill Bruford, of course, played with Yes and King Crimson. Right in 1978, King Crimson is really no more at this point, not till a short time later. John Wetton, of course, also from King Crimson and Roxy Music and Uriah Heep and Family and, all sorts of other things. Eddie Jobson, of course, with Frank Zappa and Curved Air and Roxy Music. And Alan Holdsworth, Gong and Soft Machine and Tempest and Tony Williams' Lifetime and, all the stuff that Alan Holdsworth has done. Alan Holdsworth just kind of has always shown up just about everywhere, right? So a true supergroup of Herculean proportions, and the music would live up to it, right? Of course, the legendary opening track, In the Dead of Night, is just jaw-droppingly amazing. And that guitar solo from Holdsworth, just so good, and the whole arrangement of the song, it's just absolutely amazing. The flurrying synths and just man, so good. By the Light of Day, killer stuff. Presto Vivace and Reprise, amazing. 30 years, awesome song. Jobson's keyboard work and violin on this album is just really good. And how about John Wetton? I really think, as much as I really loved his vocals and vocal work in King Crimson, I think the John Wetton that we would come to know as the powerhouse that he was, especially like starting with Asia and throughout the rest of his career, I think John Wetton as a premier singer started on this album. And maybe it's because of the material, right? I think this material on this album is a bit more melodic than what he was doing with King Crimson, obviously. And I think that his full timbre and the richness of his voice was allowed to come out in full force. There's some great vocals on here. Alaska is also terrific. Man, the instrumental interplay on that song, so good. Time to Kill is killer. Nevermore, another big lengthy track on the album, which is 8 minutes and changed. Excellent. And of course, Mental Medication. Again, Holdsworth makes his mark on all these tracks. Bruford, great drumming. I mean, the whole album really, start to finish, there's no weak moments on it. Just really good. It's complex, yet it's melodic. You get great keyboards, great violin, great guitars for far as soloing goes, and then, the bass playing and the drumming from Wetton and Bruford, just off the charts good. But again, I do want to stress the vocals on this entire album are so, so good. There's a fusion element, obviously, to the band. Whenever you got Alan Holdsworth on board, that's going to kind of happen. And then, of course, Bill Bruford is, a jazz guy at heart, right? So there's this kind of weird meeting of like prog rock and fusion and pop, and it's just all classical. It's all kind of combating here, just doing a wonderful, wonderful thing for your ears, right? So, that is my pick for today. Pick number 22, charting position, Canada. This was number 53 on the Canadian charts. Over in the UK, this hit number 43. And here on the US Billboard 200, this made it to number 65. In the Dead of Night was released as a single, but didn't make much headway, as you can imagine. This album did not certify, not a huge seller, but one of those albums that over time, I think its influence and its respect has really kind of risen greatly over the years. It's often looked at as one of the great prog albums of this era, of course. That's why it's on my list. I love it. Great, great stuff. UK, self-titled. There you go. There's the four guys right there. Interesting cover too, right? So yeah, if you are very well aware of the UK album, let us know what you think of this album down in the comments below, as well as your pick for today, pick number 22. We'll see you tomorrow for pick number 21, and each and every day throughout the rest of the month. So we march our way to my number one. Can you guess what it might be? Maybe some of you can. I think my number 1 and 2 probably isn't going to be much of a surprise to most people if you've been following the channel for a while and have heard me talk about all this stuff. But it's all the ones along the way that I think is the most exciting part of the month. So anyway, stay tuned for all that, and visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, all together, all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and click on that notification bell so you get alerted of all of our content as it posts. And please do hit the like button before you leave. Also, we got the links below to our Ko-Fi page for channel donations, as well as our merch page. So thanks in advance for all of that. And we'll see you soon here on the channel, real soon. Stay tuned. Martin Popoff's coming into the fun house with me in just a little bit. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be talking about this whole concept of advanced singles. Right? Those songs that they release before the album comes out. Do they whet your appetite for the album? Do they ruin your appetite for the album? What are some of our experiences with some of these advanced singles, and what did it kind of do to our interpretation of the albums to follow? That's what we're talking about today, so stay tuned for that. We've got coming up this weekend, we've got All About the Fuzz with Karen La Preziosa and myself coming at you tomorrow, where we're going to be talking about some of our favorite essential stoner / heavy psych albums, right? So it'll be kind of the last episode of us talking about like essential lists, right, or our favorite list, and then we're going to start moving into recommendations for you to go check out of some really cool doom stoner psych bands. Each and every month we're going to be talking, bringing to you some stuff that I think you guys really need to be checking out. We'll be investigating some of the various labels that are releasing this sort of thing, so that's kind of what's coming up in the future on All About the Fuzz. And we've got coming up on Ranking the Albums on Sunday, Sienna Root, the great Swedish hard rock, retro rock, stoner rock band, whatever you want to call them. They don't really fit into any kind of category, but they are a very, very cool band out of Sweden that plays some amazing late 60s and early 70s sounds, and definitely check that episode out. I think you guys, if you haven't listened to Sienna Root, it's a band that many of you, if you follow what we do here on Sea Tranquility and knowing what you guys like, I think Sienna Root is definitely a more modern band that you guys would really appreciate. So stay tuned for that on Sunday. And lots more coming up. Of course, we got In the Prog Seat happening next week, and the UK Connection next week. It's the week for those two shows, so stay tuned for those, and lots more here on the channel. I am Pete Pardo. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Bye-bye.